versus the second person that has the XRP. When it goes to $100, they take it over to loan protocol, they lend it out, they borrow stablecoins against it, right? And then they go about the house purchasing process. Instead of going through the bank, they take all of their capital, lend it out, borrow against it, buy the house cash. Now you have outright equity in the property and you own it. You can tokenize it, right? Then use the yield that you're earning from your tokenized property to pay back your loan to get your original lent out XRP back. And you never had to sell your XRP.
Yeah.
Shout out to Marshall for this post because I couldn't agree more. As time goes by, he said, I realized the only chance the younger generation has to buy a home is through DeFi. With inflation rising, wages stagnant, cost of goods increasing, we need a miracle, the miracle of compounding interest. We are building freedom technology with loan protocol. Bro, that makes so much more sense. Imagine, go ahead.
That's just so crazy that we've been aligned with this. It's wild how long we've been aligned with this, and to now, read a post from a few weeks ago from Marshall saying the exact thing that we've said in different ways. Man, huge pat on the back. I mean, for real. Like DeFi is the truth. And like I said too a while back, I think the way they pay off United States' debt is through DeFi. So
it's so crazy to really think about what he said. Imagine two people. They both have XRP. One person, when XRP goes to $100, let's just use that as an example. One person, when XRP goes to $100, sells all their XRP for fiat and then goes and puts a down payment on a house of, I don't know, let's just say $100,000. They have fiat, they have $100,000. They give it to the bank to get a loan, to put a down payment on the loan to get their house. And they go through the traditional financial system to do that. Versus the second person that has the XRP, when it goes to $100, they take it over to loan protocol, they lend it out, they borrow stablecoins against it, right? And then they go about the house purchasing process. Instead of going through the bank, they take all of their capital, lend it out, borrow against it, buy the house cash. Now you have outright equity in the property and you own it. You can tokenize it, right? Then use the yield that you're earning from your tokenized property to pay back your loan to get your original lent out XRP back. And you never had to sell your XRP. Who's it's going to be the person, it's going to be the person who doesn't sell their XRP for trash fiat.
Facts. And that's what being a bank is all about. Being a bank is not all about cold storaging your digital asset in a digital wallet. Like, no, a bank can do a slew of things, right? CD accounts, credit cards, auto loans, home loans, personal loans. Being your own bank is being able to do all of those things, right? And that's what DeFi gives us, that ability to have our own credit card, to create our own loan. Doesn't matter. If you have the liquidity, you can get the loan. So
I think that the best part about just in general, and I'm not here to shill Metallicus to anybody, use it or don't, could care less. I personally do because it provides opportunity and I like opportunities to grow my wealth. I'm willing to take the risk that is involved, understand that. But sitting here and saying that lending and borrowing and liquidity providing and DeFi primitives are going to be the future is one thing. But then another thing is saying that these things are going to be the future on regulatory compliant infrastructure. And that is where I firmly believe that Metallicus has the upper hand in the DeFi ecosystem, is they're doing it properly right off the bat with regulatory compliance built in. So coming over here, I'm sure Aqua has a couple of good highlights to throw at you guys. But if you have not read the Metallicus Q3 report that is now live that they put out just a few days ago on November 17th, highly suggest you guys take some time, if you're Metallicus skeptics, to just go and read thoroughly through this and do some of the research. They've kind of laid out for you all on what they've accomplished looking back over the past consecutive couple of months, because these announcements are huge, right? these announcements and these things, these ongoing developments that are set to scale in the coming months ahead are all part of the whole entire dialogue that I've shown you guys so far, is that we are front running the institutions. Considering what Metallicus is doing for credit unions, you don't want to be a market participant after all the credit unions flood in, you know?
Facts. That's super facts.
But go ahead, Aqua, if you want to share your screen and go over some of these things. I do have some.
Yeah.
When you start to talk about the stablecoin portion, I have 2 video clips to talk through on how every financial institution is on the path towards generating their own stablecoin, and Metallicus provides that technology.
And I just wanted to highlight that SOC2 compliance in progress. So it says there, we continue to work toward SOC2 compliance with internal control development and audits progressing on schedule. Certification is targeted for completion the first half of 2026. Now, when I first read this bad boy, I had no idea what SOC2 compliance was, like many of us, right? So I had a full-on conversation with Grok, educating myself on it. And let me share my screen and share what I learned. So I said, what is the easiest way to explain the SOC2 compliance? And it says here, SOC2 compliance is basically the gold star security report card that big customers demand from tech companies. An independent auditor spends months testing whether your system really protects customer data, stay online, and keep everything confidential, right? So basically, SOC2 compliance is the background check for enterprise software. Then I asked, okay, is this a big deal? And it says, yes, Metallicus progress towards the SOC2 compliance is a major milestone for the shareholders, especially in a hyper-regulated world of blockchain fintech. And then let me scroll down here and start when I started asking about the BSA compliance and the SOC2 and how they compare. And it basically says that they overlap. So it says here, it aligns and it overlaps with the SOC2 compliance. And basically having BSA compliance, which we know BSA compliance is already in effect on the Metal blockchain, having that is basically giving them 40 to 50% of an overlap of already achieving what needs to be achieved, right? So basically they're halfway there. And it says here, so BSA compliance is basically, we're legally required to stop criminals. That's what the BSA compliance is there to do. SOC2 compliance is here to make sure that they can prove to banks and enterprises that the entire system is secure and reliable. So for a compliant blockchain bank like Metallicus, the two go hand in hand. One is the law and the other is an enterprise handshake that turns pilots into million-dollar contracts. So I feel like this is the cherry on top to basically, have these institutional relationships go into full effect. Because yesterday as well, I started educating myself on SOC2 compliance during the Wealth 28 Zoom call. And this is a list of institutions and companies that are already SOC2 compliant. So at the top, you got Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, Google Cloud, IBM. I'm just going to name some of the names that I'm familiar with: Slack, Zoom, Dropbox, right? Adobe, DocuSign. All of these guys are already SOC2 compliant. So for Metallicus to be in progress and this, completion to be completed the first half of 2026, this is another major step. And we can add this to the resume of why these guys are aligned the best with regulation,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll throw in there too, because a lot of people that, lack education and the ones that are like, oh, Metallicus is a scam and blah, 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 there's physical proof out there on the internet. Let me share my screen. I shared this with you guys, right? This is let me go over this. The BSA compliance, and the people that are like, oh, you don't need to be BSA compliant. No, you do. And they openly have forums on this for institutions and for retail traders to go and learn, that think that this is not an important thing. So this is a recent event that took place from October, just last month. only has 36 views, and it's from the MDDC Credit Union Association. And this is the compliance officer, Andre Lucas, going over a complete breakdown on how these credit unions, if they are not up to date with their BSA compliance, they fall out of compliance, right? So this is all recent. So for anybody to say that BSA compliance is not important, he's literally telling people, hello, if one employee is not updated on their BSA compliance training, then the whole entire organization falls out of line of BSA compliance. That seems to me that BSA compliance is pretty darn important, right? Take a second and listen to this.
Into a credit union. I have done a BSA. I have gone into a credit union. I have done a BSA audit, and they were in compliance with the 12 to 18 months because there had been maybe 16 to 17 months since their last test. But their policy said annually. So they're not in compliance. If your policy says annually, you do it annually. Okay, so undocumented training or failure to train. And this is for everyone. If you got 60 employees and you got one employee that has not been trained, you're out of compliance. Make sure, and board members, please make sure that you get your BSA training. Incomplete CTRs and SAW process.
So if one employee is not trained on BSA compliance, the whole entire organization falls out of line of being BSA compliant. So at their organization, from a freaking top-down level, they're probably super strict on being like, hey, you guys have this training to complete, and it's probably like a PowerPoint where they have to ask questions and they have to test a certain amount and pass like probably with a 70% to check that they're BSA compliant, that they understand the regulations. And if they don't pass their little tiny test, then they fail, and that organization falls out of line of BSA compliant. That, again, like I'm saying, that's anybody that tells you that BSA compliance is not important, but that's what they're doing on the infrastructure level at institutions. Come on now, y'all. And who's BSA compliant in this space?
Metallicus.
And
bro, you're spot on with how they remain compliant with having their people take a test and score a certain amount to prove that they retain that information. Because I just take myself back when it was like 2013. I worked at a bank as a personal banker for a short amount of time before I had all these visible tattoos everywhere. And I just remember multiple trainings like all the time and having to score a certain amount to basically, pass and prove that I retained the information. And a lot of it was BSA compliance stuff. I just had no idea what it was, as much as I do now today, but at the time it was just like, let me get this test out of the way type of thing. But yeah.
110%. Now, considering all the, froth that's on the internet around Metallicus and XPR, especially the uneducated retail investors that think that XPR is some competitor to XRP, when in reality, if you just go look at the ISO standards, it's just the way that they set up their ticker symbol, where the X just represents that it's a cross-border asset and that there's no one jurisdiction that has control over it, followed by RP, XRP, Ripple, XRP, and XPR, Proton. There's no competitiveness. Actually, as a matter of fact, the XRP network, or excuse me, the XPR network is actually set to enhance capabilities for XRP holders. There's no competitiveness at all, right? Yes. So I want to read some of the things in this report. And as I'm reading this, then I'm going to go and I'm going to play some video clips from large players in the game that have recently spoken on stage. This video, by the way, is, mind you, from 6 days ago. This one over here is only from 2 weeks ago that I'm going to play. And listen to what these people say is happening behind the scenes while I read what Metallicus is doing, and tell me that this doesn't align exactly with what Metallicus is doing right now, which is just mind-blowing that people are ignoring this right now. Okay, so listen to this. This is, again, the Metallicus Q3 report that dropped like a few days ago. First, at the top, Metallicus announced the CLD USD, the first member-facing stablecoin issued by a U.S. credit union. 15 plus institutional stablecoins deployed in this test environment. By the end of Q3, more than 15 institutional branded stablecoins had been deployed in the XPR network test environment as a part of the Metallicus stablecoin pilot program. So you mean to tell me that there's really people out there on the internet, XRP influencers, that are saying that XPR network is a scam and that it's a meme coin, but here 15 different institutions have decided to launch branded stablecoins on the network in a test environment on the XPR network? How much sense does that make? Really ask yourself that question. Metallicus worked closely with participating credit unions to explore wallets, minting, burning, and sending of funds using test tokens without engaging in real assets. So what I like about this is they literally tell you why there's been no reflection in price action, because this has been all in a test environment without engaging in real assets, right? So of course there's going to be any price action. I love that they are open with that and tell you that, like, hey, we're testing this, guys. This is a test. This isn't the real thing yet, but nonetheless, a very important test. It says this compliance aligned zero risk sandbox enabled institutions to evaluate operational readiness, idea, and develop internal expertise ahead of potential production deployment on Metal blockchain. Are you seeing that right now? So what happens when they turn the lights on and it goes from test environment to the real environment? Come on now, y'all. And hold on, again, mind you, I'm going to play 2 video clips that are going to set the tone for what I'm reading for you guys, because this is going to happen. This is 100% going to happen. I can say that with confidence. Metallicus also formed a strategic alliance with InvestFi to deliver stablecoin capabilities through its digital investment platform. The integration enables credit unions and banks to convert stablecoins to USD and vice versa in real time within online and mobile banking. Metallicus provides the blockchain infrastructure, while InvestFi distributes the solution across the network of financial institutions. Cornerstone League, representing over 600 different credit unions, partnered with Metallicus to offer its member access to the stablecoin pilot program. Again, another mention. That is now the 3rd mention of stablecoins. As a part of the Metal Blockchain Innovation Program, participating institutions can evaluate stablecoin issuance in a risk-free, compliance-aligned sandbox. Remember, me and Aqua mentioned that compliance is going to play a very important role, and Metallicus is at the forefront of that. Supporting education, operational testing, and readiness for future deployment. Y'all, we are, again, adopting these digital assets before the deployment. You all freaking see. Do not get manipulated by the influencers that are like, oh, this is fake.
Yeah. Don't let them lie to you. Don't fall for that gibberish.
Okay. Last but not least, it says the Banking Innovation Program now includes over 40 participating institutions, including credit unions, credit union service organizations, and credit union leagues. These organizations are actively exploring stablecoins, digital identity custody, and compliance-first DeFi. This is very important. Compliance-first DeFi within a framework that connects to core banking systems and aligns with regulatory expectations. Now, I'm going to highlight this in purple because of all the people that are out there like, oh, XPR is a scam. Remind you, again, this is compliant-first DeFi to integrate with core banking systems, which we've already seen up here. What are these institutions? 15 of them have deployed stablecoins in a test environment on the XPR network right here. And if we scroll down, what it says, check this out. All right. First off, for all the XRP maxis, check this out. Internal testing is underway to add native wallet signing support. Again, support for the XRP ledger. Does that sound like they're competing with XRP?
No, not at all. And it's the native version too. So it's going to be the like XRP, you know?
Then down here, check this out. It says coin tracking integration is now live. XPR network is now integrated with coin tracking, allowing users to generate transaction history reports and tax documents directly from wallet addresses. This update adds an essential compliance layer for users operating across the expanding set of DeFi tools built on the network. So right up top, it literally says that they're doing this to align with compliance for scalable DeFi, where these banks can integrate this into core systems. And it's literally telling you guys the updates that XPR network is integrating in order to make this possible. Like, you can't make this up, you know? Now, considering that it mentions stablecoins, and how Metallicus is at the forefront, not only of the sandbox, giving a test environment for all these institutions to do this in a regulatory compliant way, but now check this out. Listen to these other institutions and systemically important people. I'm pretty sure this is the Joe Lubin, co-founder of Ethereum and CEO of Consensus. Okay. So he probably knows what the heck he's talking about. Well, listen to him tell you guys that stablecoins are going to be one of the biggest and most important use cases. And I just showed you guys in the Q3 document how Metallicus is building out that infrastructure for these institutions. Take a second and listen.
See how that all plays out. At a lower layer, we'll probably have networks of major financial institutions interacting with central banks and moving money like tokens around on those networks. We have this notion of a tokenized deposit, and tokenized deposits are likely to be a bunch more regulated than stable coins, and are probably going to be more restricted to certain kinds of use cases, and probably won't move freely on all sorts of blockchain networks. I think of stable coins at the lowest layer as more like cash than the other elements, and I think they'll be lightly regulated. I think they will admit lots of competition and lots of innovation. I think stable coins are potentially going to change the nature of commerce in the sense that there will probably be a bunch of stablecoin platforms. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 50 around the world, but there'll probably be millions of stablecoins because stablecoins will be white labeled. Your community will want its stablecoin. Your company will have stablecoins. Regions will have stablecoins. And if you're a company and you want to incentivize your customers, anybody who has paid with a stablecoin or is currently holding your stablecoin, you can get messages to them. You can offer discounts and perks, etc. And so there will be other tokens that have money-like characteristics, but let me leave it there for now.
Thanks, Joe.
I want to know if he knows who Metallicus is, because wow, white label stablecoins. That's what Metal Blockchain is doing now. You just read about
exactly, bro. Why I freaking like you can't make it up, bro.
Yeah,
it's literally the use case that Metallicus is providing in real time right now in a regulated environment with 100% guaranteed with institutions that are doing it right now.
Yo, should I share that Metal Dollar?
Yeah, let me play this last video clip because this just goes hand in hand, because I like to always show like at least 2 examples, because this guy pretty much says the same thing, but instead he says all these institutions have come to us and asked about building their own stablecoin. Listen to what he says.
Assessment around 2 years ago, we were reached out, like all the banks in the world reached out to us saying we're doing a stablecoin. Some sovereign entity came and do the same. So
it's real quick, but he says all the banks in the world reached out to us because they want to issue their own stablecoin. You know, this is just huge confirmation of the use case that Metallicus provides already right now. Great information across the board. Yes, please share that article about XMD. And then, we'll start to wrap it up and wind down there because we're going on an hour. And I'll share this one last post to kind of put things into perspective for you guys on the Metallicus front before we jump off for the weekend. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, it just says today's environment. This is a XMD article that was just posted yesterday, right? So it says today's environment already contains a wide range of stable coins issued by fintechs, blockchain platforms, and global financial institutions, with dozens of U.S. credit unions now testing stablecoin issuance on the Metal Dollar testnet, and many expected to launch in 2026. A landscape is expanding rapidly. This is where it gets juicy, and it aligns with what you just shared. It says, in the near future, there may be hundreds or even thousands of legitimate reserve-backed stablecoins operating across multiple networks and jurisdictions. While each individual token may be transparent and compliant, the ecosystem as a whole becomes increasingly fractured. So this is all aligned with like the entire sentiment of today's video or today's podcast.
I love it, man. You know, research is undeniable when it's not research that's like inflated by hopium and hype, and instead it's just fixated on the research itself. I'll go outright and say that I wouldn't want to be on the opposing side of Metallicus and XPR Network because you listen to some influencer that was like, oh, it's a competitor to XRP, when that is the farthest thing from the truth and immediately shows a lack of education of just currency codes. Like, just go look up what a currency code is, and it'll just completely steer you away from anybody that thinks that the ticker symbol XPR and XRP have anything to do with them trying to copy each other. Like, it's the farthest thing. Just go look up ISO currency codes, go to the ISO website and just read about it, and you'll understand why they're tickered that way.
Yeah, that's facts.
You know, so that's really all that I had for you guys today. I really like that last little share. This one is just, I'll wrap it up here, just kind of put things into perspective. This is something that I shared a couple of days ago that I feel like went, you know, kind of under the radar, but nonetheless just shows that people that matter in this space, large entities, specifically in the US, know about Metallicus. So here in this post, I said, where did we go?
When you get to it, click on it so you can blow it up.
Yeah, can you see it now?
No, you got. Is this America's Credit Unions?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. All right. So I said here in this post, this is major. America's Credit Union just submitted, and mind you, this is back from when I posted this, November 11th. So less than a month ago. You know, it's still relatively new. It's not breaking, like it didn't come out November 21st, but it's still from this month. This is major. America's Credit Unions just submitted an official letter to the U.S. Department of the U.S. Treasury in response to its request for comment on innovative methods to detect illicit activity involving digital assets, and the findings are huge for the DeFi space. The letter doesn't just push for innovation, it pushes for inclusion, ensuring that community-based institutions like credit unions can actively participate in the evolving digital asset ecosystem. Here's where it gets interesting. The letter specifically highlighted St. Cloud Financial Credit Union as the first U.S. credit union launching its own U.S. dollar-backed stablecoin named Cloud Dollar. Over 750 credit unions have joined the Sandbox program to experiment with stablecoin transactions and internal settlements. And guess what platform is powering these pilots? Mind you, again, this is a direct letter from October 17, 2025 to the United States Treasury Department, okay? So this is them getting a letter from America's credit unions, and who's running the pilot that they talked about in the report directly to the freaking U.S. Treasury? Metallicus. So do you really think that America's credit union as a whole, who represents like millions of customers, would have the audacity to write a letter to the U.S. Treasury Department talking about the innovative things that are happening right now in the credit union ecosystem involving directly Metallicus if they were skeptical about the technology? I think not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So I said here's why this really matters and what it means. When you break it down, at least again from my perspective, America's credit union, who represents over 144 million members nationwide, directly addressed the U.S. Treasury referencing projects powered by Metallicus, the same organization behind Metal Blockchain and XPR Network. The letter is now a part of official U.S. Treasury records, meaning regulators, policymakers, and Financial Oversight Committee are formally aware of Metallicus' role in the ongoing digital asset sandbox experiment. These are not small pilot programs. Over 750 credit unions were involved, and the Treasury is being asked to support frameworks that make this activity permanent and compliant. So the U.S. Treasury now knows Metallicus exists, if they didn't already, but more importantly, they know Metallicus is inside operating the framework for regulatory alignment. This clearly is not a project fighting the system, it's working within it. It's proving that blockchain can be compliant, transparent, and beneficial to the existing financial system. So in my eyes, Metallicus is quietly building what the rest of the world will one day depend on, which is regulated blockchain rails for real institutions. All right. And here's the proof right here. Okay. So just again, put that into perspective when you guys are out there on the internet and you're listening to opinionated people that can't open up a document and just put 2 and 2 together. To each his own. Always go out there and do your own personal research. That's all that I have for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Yeah, Aqua, if you have anything else, man, for the people.
Yeah, nah, another great one. Super fire. Much love to everybody who tapped in with us today, for sure.
There's a couple of people in the chat that were asking about how to tap in with us in the private CYPRX community. You guys can always head over to CYPRXtrading.com. You can see the banner up there. Visit the website, look at the services that we offer, tap in with us. There's so many different educational things that we offer in this community to just enlighten you and put you ahead of the average retail crowd, whether it's you're looking for research, whether it's you're a trader and you're looking for access to real institutional insights and information and data that'll put you ahead of the average, trader in this game, whether it's DeFi and you want to learn how to get your digital assets working for you. All of those things all readily available in our private community. Many blessings to you guys. Be cognizant. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. We got the holidays coming up. I'm sure that next weekend, everybody's going to be busy with Thanksgiving in the United States. If you're going to be traveling, make sure that you are being well aware of your surroundings. So people get a little bit chaotic and frantic in times like this. But nonetheless, many blessings. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.